all year. We've really tried to run. I think they do a great job of it too. We really, both teams mirror each other a lot in transition. I think we're both looking for the same thing. And Jordan Bone is obviously getting better and better, starting to connect the dots for us and what he's trying to do. And I'm really proud of our team. I thought, we didn't know until pre-game warm-ups that Jordan Bowden wasn't going to play. We went through shoot around and he didn't mention anything, and he came out and Chad actually came back and said everybody's good to go, and he came back 2 minutes later and said I'm wrong. He said Bowden just told us he didn't think he could play, and really happy with the way Jalen Johnson and Derek Walker stepped up, played and gave us some very, very important minutes. And foul trouble, we tried to work through it and best we could, but our older guys, experienced guys, I thought really kept their poise throughout.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned Jordan. Did that just happen today?
Yeah, we really
Shoot around or warm-ups?
Well, we don't know. I'm serious. They told me 10 minutes before the game that he didn't, and they kept working on him when they came back in the last time with 12 minutes on the clock, but he just didn't think he could go.
And you touched on it, but you played some lineups we haven't seen. I mean, Fulkerson, Walker, Pons out there all together at the same time. We just, how happy were you to see them be able to get it done?
Well, I think a lot of that goes back to last off season because we went through a period in the summer that we wouldn't let Grant and Admiral play inside. We made those guys do it. We put those guys on the team, and we said you guys are going to learn to play together. And the fact is they've continued to work, and we've had different lineups. It goes back to what I've said about starting. We've had different starting lineups, but tonight really what Jalen and Derek came in, he made a couple of big plays. I mean, he came up with some big plays for us, but it really was a great team effort for us. And you all know how much respect I have for Frank Martin and what he does and the way he builds his program. And for us to come in and, again, the guys didn't know Bowden wasn't going to play either, but they didn't flinch. They said, okay, let's go. We've got guys. We've had to finish games without Grant, without AD, without Kyle, and we've been through some situations like that where someone else was ready to play and they did some good things for us.
Coach, Jordan Bone finished with 9 assists tonight. How well do you think he ran the offense in terms of pace and getting the ball off the floor?
He did, and you guys watching him play this year, he's getting more consistent as time goes, and with Jordan Bowden being down, our substitution pattern, you're trying to work through that. I mean, we don't want those guys out there for 5-6 minutes at a time, but there was times tonight that he had to do that. Lamonte had to do that. Admiral did it for certain. Grant, those guys did it, and you're just trying to keep those guys as fresh as you can, but know that there's certain lineups you'd like to keep out there. But Jordan has done a good job. He really has. I think he's really getting a feel for his teammates, and he was really terrific in transition. We opened the post up a little bit to let him get down the lane and see what he could do, and made some really nice reads for us.
Coach, you now have been making history as the season's going along with your ranking, but now you win your 15th straight game, which ties the century-plus-old mark. What's the impact of having something like that for this team, this group, and is that lost in them, or are you just trying to make sure they focus on getting the next one?
No, I mean, it's nice, obviously, and again, I've said everything that's happening for these guys, they've earned it, they've worked there, they've worked hard at it, but I think we got through the toughest part of being a number one ranked team, even though we know, I'm talking about the attention around it. That's what I'm talking about. We know our opponents are going to be tough from every time we go out, but there's no doubt that it's something they had never experienced, and there's nobody that could tell them from a player standpoint, how do you block out all that noise and stay focused, and that's the key. Can we just stay focused at hand on trying to be the best team that we can be? And we all think we can get better, and we know we have to get better because the people in this league are going to continue to get better and work. But again, anything that's like that happens goes to their hard work and their effort.
I guess a couple of things. One, do you know the severity of Bowden's situation?
He'll be ready by Saturday. I mean, I feel certain of that. I do.
And when you look at a guy like Admiral tonight, missed a couple shots early, but really kind of fought his way through it and started getting some shots to go down. I know y'all have talked about he can kind of be productive without scoring, but when Bowden's not out there, how big is it for Admiral to start hitting shots again?
Well, I thought it was great in terms of what he, after our last game, we came in and once we sit down to scrub it out a little bit, and he told the team he felt like he'd been putting undue pressure on himself, and he promised him. He said, "I'm gonna just get back to, just putting it all behind me." And I thought his demeanor. I thought he's been great in practice the last day. Really, we haven't had a lot of practice this last week because of 3 games in 6 days. But I thought his demeanor today, yesterday, and throughout the game was terrific today. And I just thought he was really locked in. And I thought he let it come to him. I didn't think he was trying to force anything. But those threes back to back that I think he hit one, and Turner maybe, or Bone. Those were big plays in the game.
Rick, second straight game, Kyle's had a lot of foul issues. Tonight, was it just a matchup with Silva, or was he just committing bad fouls?
Well, certainly, really and truly, when you think of Chris Silva, he's a hard guy to guard. But Kyle is playing a half step behind, and when you do that against a player that's that strong and aggressive, it gets arms and hands get tangled up, and then one of them tonight though he he reached in, which he shouldn't have, but I can't even remember in the last couple of years when he's done that, the last couple of games like this. But I think it goes back to where he's got to be a little bit more on edge, and but you got to, again, Chris Silver is a hard guy to defend, and he's got the toughest matchups every night inside.
Yeah, Rick, along those same lines about Silva. Obviously, scouting report is he's going to crowd him near the rim, and you got to take care of him in the paint. He stretched the floor a little bit in that first half as well. Was it anything you guys were doing defensively that allowed him to get open? Was it just he was playing that well?
We told our team, we showed him, and actually the scout report was that he had extended his game and could make a 3. We gave him too much room at the 3. That was, some of that had to do again when we were fighting through trying to get guys off the floor, and but we told our guys, I think that there's no doubt he's expanded his game. He made some really tough shots. That one on the baseline was terrific, but at the elbows he can shoot it 15 feet, and but we showed the team he can make a 3 if we're not there with a hand up.
2 more. Rick, that felt like the most complete game you guys have played for a while. Do you agree with that? How long do you think it's been since you played that completely?
Well, it was. And when you talk about 2 halves, I mean, definitely that. We've had some moments where we've been good on defense, good on offense, but consistently put it together. I thought when they cut it down to, what was it, 2, I think, I thought our guys, and I think they expect it, to be quite honest. I mean, you come in here and, they got a nice crowd, and nice, it is, and they expect to go on the road. But I thought we kept our poise, and really, first time we've had 2 consistent halves in quite a while.
Rick, you mentioned, how important Jalen's minutes were tonight. I guess how important were they with no Bowden and with Lamonte getting an early foul trouble? I guess how impressive is it that he was able to do that after not really playing much the last couple games?
Well, the Lamonte picked up his 3rd foul. We were trying to get him out of the game. That's where the rule where coaches can't call time is really a tough rule, because the shot clock went off one time and nobody heard it, but it's hard because we were trying to get him out of the game, and we couldn't get stoppage, and for Jalen to come in and do that. Lamonte stayed engaged. He started the game. The second half, we went back with Eve to try to buy. I think we were wanting to set him for about 6 minutes, which I think we did. And but Jalen's minutes were huge. I mean, he was out there playing. I thought he looked relaxed. I thought he was engaged with what we were trying to do, and so and for him to. Again, he hasn't played a couple games, I guess, really put those minutes in, but he went out tonight and was ready to play, and that's where we are as a team. We're not just counting on one guy. We need them all, and we will continue to need them all.
Finish up with Gene.
Rick, in the first half, Grant had 0 rebounds. He finished with 9. What was that halftime conversation like?
Well, that's an ongoing conversation, about him rebounding, because he plays better when he's rebounding the ball, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He plays better, but again, they're a team that you got to work against them to rebound the ball, because they do a terrific job, and we put a lot on Grant. There's no doubt about it, and tonight he's got to match up with one of their post guys, and Kosar and Silva, when they're there, they're tough to guard, but. I'm glad that he came up with some big ones when we needed it, certainly. And but when he's, I say it about Admiral, I say it about him, when they're rebounding, that's when they play their best basketball.
Thank you, Coach. New Tennessee players outside the locker room.
Thank you, guys.
Good.
saying, I was